Phil Connors is a weather reporter who is sent to a small town where, every year, on February 2nd, a very well-respected groundhog predicts whether the winter is going to be long or not. Phil is not at all happy to be there.
I can't stay here.
And he just wants to do his job and go. Except that day, a snowstorm prevents him from leaving. So his stay in the city was going to last longer. Much longer. Because he relives the same day of February 2nd again and again, not understanding why or how to get out of it.
What the hell?
From the start of the film, we see that Phil is a disagreeable person. You can see it right away in his eyes. He is contemptuous of others, his colleagues barely tolerate him. He thinks this Groundhog Day is ridiculous, and if it weren't for the storm that was coming that night, he would have gone home by now. But since he has no choice, he sleeps in his hotel. He wakes up the next day and he doesn't understand what's going on. Everything that happens to him is exactly the same thing that happened the day before. Everyone acts like it's Groundhog Day again. Seems like a bad joke the whole town is playing on him. He's going to sleep again and the same thing again. The day repeats itself. He eventually realizes that he will not escape it, so he takes the opportunity to change things. This is where Phil unconsciously performs the most important stoic exercise, as I will explain later. Phil first decides to react to this by doing whatever he likes. He provokes the police and goes to jail, he smokes and eats all he can, he uses his days to seduce a woman, he steals money and disguises himself as a cowboy, but his biggest and longest endeavor is to try to seduce Rita, his producer. Day after day, he learns all about her. Each new day he improves the way he interacts with her in order to win her over. But when evening comes, he doesn't succeed, because she knows the unpleasant man he really is. She has been around him for a long time, and she does not let herself be fooled by his game of seduction, which annoys and frustrates Phil, so every day after, he fails again and again with her. He ends up giving up, except that the many days he spent with her made him fall in love with her. And he's desperate now. He tried many ways to kill himself, but each time he wakes up the next day as if nothing happened. He hates this endless day, but he realizes once again that there is nothing he can do about it, and that in reality he hates who he is. So this time, he decides to really change. He brings coffee to others, he is nicer with everyone, so everyone is nicer with him. He learns to play the piano, he tries to help everyone he can help, and day after day, he becomes the better man he wants to be. In the end, he becomes someone that everyone appreciates, that everyone thanks, someone that everyone wants to be with. And Rita can see that he is a good and valuable person, so she too falls in love with who he has become. He wakes up the next day, and finally, it's a new day that doesn't repeat itself. It's when Phil has changed and became a better person who can bring value to others that his life can go on. Of course, in reality, it is not possible for us to relive the exact same day over and over again. There are variations in the days that we live, but ultimately, it is essentially the same day that we live every time, because as long as we don't change, we react to events that happen to us in the same way again and again, and it ends with the same consequences. Like Phil, if we feel stuck in life and want to move on, we are going to have to change the way we act, think and react to what happens to us every day. To change, the Stoics had what they called the exercise of attention to oneself, which is considered the most essential exercise in Stoicism, for without it, change is not possible. As Pierre Hadot said, attention to oneself is the fundamental spiritual attitude of the Stoic. It is a constant vigilance and presence of mind, ever-alert awareness, constant tension of the mind. Thanks to it, the philosopher knows and fully wants what he is doing at all times. Applying it means paying attention every day to how we act and how we think, and see if it corresponds to what we want to achieve and who we want to be. The goal is to direct our actions and thoughts in the direction we think is best. For the Stoics, it was that of courage, justice, self-control, and wisdom. We learn by acting out in the world in a certain way, which in turn gives us feedback on the consequences of our actions. And by evaluating this feedback, we change our actions a little bit to get closer to the outcome we want to see in the world. Like Phil, little by little, paying attention to how we act in the world and trying to change it, The way we act becomes the way we are. And it is noticeable. The feedback on our actions is much more positive. We are no longer stuck, we move forward, and if the feedback is negative to begin with, it's only a matter of time and practice to get the results we want. Phil knows this very well and shows it when he is learning the piano. He is not afraid of making mistakes, because he knows that he only needs repetition to make it happen. He has done it so many times before with other skills that he knows he will get there with practice and time. This is the strength of the exercise of attention to oneself. It is a lifelong exercise which can be used to change whatever doesn't please us about ourselves and to become the better person we want to be. We can pay attention to what we say, what we think, what we eat, what we like. We can pay attention to our emotions as to not let them destroy us. Pay attention to how we want to live every day and constantly pay attention to who we want to be. I say it again. The Stoics believed that the best change for human beings is to move towards more courage, justice, self-control, and wisdom. I think it's quite a good aim in life. Finally, I'll leave you with this wonderful thought of the Stoic philosopher and emperor Marcus Aurelius. Waste no time arguing what a good man should be. Be one.